Hello, and welcome to Daily Bread Thoughts for Your Devotions. This is Pastor Phil, your host as always, and today is June 1st, 2020. Thanks for those of you who understand that I wasn't at the Friday night live stream last Friday. My wife had our second son Friday at 12:13 p.m. So in the middle of the day, we had our second son. His name is Augustin Gregory, and we welcome your prayers. He is a healthy baby boy, and he had his first pediatrician appointment today. So we also have a whole bunch of family in our house, which is why I'm kind of hiding out in the study. But if you hear doors slam or screams or anything like that, it's because there are a lot of people in my house right now, and so just bear with me. Today I wanted to push pause on our talk about narrative and how our hearts were created to respond to the narrative of Jesus, and it's proven so time and time again by the very stories that we relate to and that we respond to as human beings. I want to push pause on that, and I want to give a disclaimer. Because we're in this weird time. George Floyd was murdered, and now there are riots and looting and protests and things like that going on in our country. And so I wanted to talk about it, but the disclaimer is I don't even know if I should be doing this, to be honest. I look online and I see people who are virtue signaling, people who are just sharing information, people who are letting the whole world know where they stand in some nebulous way, and I disagree with that. I don't think there's anything wrong with letting people know where you stand, but I think there is something wrong in believing that simply sharing information is going to change hearts. I think it's difficult to imagine a world where simple sharing of information actually led to changed lives. And here's why. We look at the person of Jesus. Now, I believe that he is the incarnate Son of God who redeemed this world from sin, death, and the power of Satan. Maybe you just think he's a man. Whatever you may think, the way that he conducted his life and ministry was not just information sharing. If you believe that he was divine, that he is divine, he could have come down, spoken for 5 minutes, got up on the cross, died, rose again, and ascended into heaven, and we would have all the information and all of the payment for sin that we would ever need. And the Holy Spirit could have directed all the listeners to write interpretations of those 5 minutes of speech, and we would have the same scriptures that we have today. But it wouldn't have done as much. What we see is a man who spent 1 to 3 years of his life in public ministry so that people would know his heart, so that people would know how God feels about human beings. And I think that therein lies the key. See, I don't believe that my sharing my thoughts with you is going to change your heart, but I do believe that you looking at the person and work and life of Jesus Christ will change your life. And it changes your life because Jesus chose not to come into this world and simply exchange information, do a task, and then leave. Jesus came into this world and said that we are to love one another. In fact, he calls out morality for what it is. In Mark chapter 2, he says, man was not made for the Sabbath was made for man. In much the same way, I believe that he is saying in essence there that man is not made for morality, but morality is made for man. We aren't to somehow think that we are going to achieve a certain kind of morality, but we're supposed to use morality to be life-affirming. Morality is made for us, to affirm life, to affirm God's creation. And it isn't just an idea, it isn't just information, it's action. It's loving the very person who's in front of you at this moment. And I know that I'm being hypocritical because I'm telling you this right now, and I'm hiding away in my office in order to share this information with you, but I think that it is so important for us to at some point put down the cell phones, put down the computers, to put down the newspaper, to put down the sort of huge acts that we think that we're doing by sharing our thoughts and information with people. That's not going to change hearts. What's going to change hearts is you loving your neighbor, you loving your family, you loving the people that God puts in front of you who you don't know. And so I would invite you to continue to love those people who are in front of you. That's the only way to change society, not from the top down, not from these big ideas that trickle into eventually some sort of action, but these small actions showing people your true heart. And so may God bless you as you take this, you digest it, you think about it for your devotions, and you love. In the same way that God loved you while you were still a sinner, we love others even when they're still strangers, and maybe even especially when they're still enemies. And so I just invite you to ponder on that for this evening, and tomorrow we will again pick up the narrative arc with the final battle, and we will move forward with that. And I have to go attend to my son, who is being allowed to scream up and down the hallways, and I'm going to go and give him some love. So may you have that love in your life that you reflect from Jesus himself. Amen.